Good morning and welcome to this week's IGTV. Today I'm talking about family time with your teen. And why do you constantly have to force them? Because they don't want to spend time with you. So family time is just like a big dark cloud. It's so frustrating and hard not to take personally when your teenager literally wants nothing to do with you or any of your family, and you are constantly going out of your way to try and create experiences or connection time or quality time for that matter, and your teenagers just go, nope, not having it, don't want it, forget it. And so what ends up happening is, because you feel often rejected and hurt and really resentful, like put out, is that it becomes a forcing where you force that family time. And today I'm going to tell you specifically why that doesn't work, the impact of that long term, and what you can do instead to navigate these teen years with quality family time in a way that works hopefully for you and your teen. Okay, so it's a meet in the middle. All right, so welcome and thank you for joining me this morning. My name is Allie Payne. I'm a certified life coach, certified relationship systems coach. I have been working with parents of teens for the last 15 years to help them end the painful disconnection, emotional blowups, and stressful silences to build healthy relationships based on trust and respect. I was a very troubled teen. I had a very tumultuous relationship with my parents. Certainly didn't want family time or quality time with them, unless it was doing a few things. There was a few exceptions to that, so I'll share some of that. I have spent decades in therapy and now have raised two of my own incredible sons. They are 19 and 21. And so everything I share in all of my videos and all of my programs is a culmination of what I wished I had as a teen, what I wished I'd known as a parent early on. Because I don't think that being a teen needs to feel so hard, and I don't think that being a parent of a teen needs to feel so hard. All right, so if this is a topic that feels like, like a knife in the heart, or maybe it's like poking your eyes out with a dull knife, put a heck yeah in the comments if this is something that you can relate to. If you're watching on Instagram, give me a follow. If you are watching on YouTube, hit subscribe. I'm here every Thursday at 11 a.m. talking all about parenting teens. Okay, how do you create family time with a teenager? So first of all, let me just give you a little bit of the psychology of what's going on in their brain, right? Thank you for the heck yeah. I am not alone. I love your handle too. So teenagers don't want family time, but it's not necessarily because they are against you, okay? Hi, Safina. All right, so the teen brain is going through the second and final growth phase in the human lifetime. And what happens specifically in that time is they go from a simple computing system as a child and, oh my gosh, hi Katrina. And then their brain becomes more complex in order to be a successful adult. Now, in order to make that work, psychologically, and by the way, the growth phase is about 13 to 15, 14 to 16, but the development of that new hardware, because they're growing all new hardware and they're developing software at the same time, the software development doesn't finish till they're about 25, okay? The hardware development, where they're literally growing new gray matter and developing all new, very complex neural pathways for more complex emotions, thought process, critical analysis, risk assessment, independent decision-making, all of that. Yes, this does apply to a 20-year-old child as well. What happens in that time is that your teen is going through two processes. These are psychological processes. They are going through individuation. So who are they in the world as an individual? Who are they? What do they stand for? What do they believe in? Who are they? Because as a child, they have seen themselves through you, which is kind of an irony because you also get to experience the world through their eyes, right? But as they're in adolescence, they no longer see the world through your eyes, through your experience, through your tutelage, through your constant direction and teaching, okay? And that's individuation. So in the process of individuation, determining who they are in the world as an individual and no longer like a part of you, they don't want to spend as much time with you because they're trying to figure out who they are. Okay, that's one process, individuation. The second is differentiation. I know they sound the same, but they actually are two slightly different. And I'm sorry if I'm bastardizing the description of these. The differentiation is they kind of go together. Differentiation is are they apart from you? So what is it like to have their own? So individuation is an individual thing. Okay, differentiation is like who are they with their own friend group, their own support circle, their own interests, their own way of slicing a tomato that's not yours, their own way of making spaghetti that's not yours. Who are they specifically different from you? Different. That's why when you showed things to your child liked to mimic you because it was how they were learning about how to be a human. They would mimic you and then they would go, did I get it right? Did I do it right? And now your teenagers, it seems, fundamental purpose in life is how to prove you wrong and do it their way. Again, why is my nose always itchy when I go live? How to do things their way, definitely not your way, because that's lame. And how can they express their individualism in that? How can they express their own unique skills, talents, character traits, and interests in basic skills that prove they are different from you? And as they are different from you, what they want to know in their hot mess is, do you love me? Do you love me even though I need to be different than you? It is fundamentally required in my brain in order to become a successful human, because I am not an automaton, I'm not a robot, and I'm not a chip off the old block. I'm not you. So I'm going out in the world and my brain is differentiating and I'm figuring out who I am different from you. And what I want to know most is, do you love me? Even though I'm different, I need to be different. So the reason I'm telling you this is because family time looked quite different, right? When our kids were little, like we had Friday night movie night and we had a sofa bed in our living room, and Friday nights we would take all the cushions off the couch, which all the cushions were always off the couch anyway, because couch fort. And then we would pull the couch out and they would bring their blankets down and we would cover it in blankets, and they were allowed to eat like their pizza or whatever on the couch, and we would all snuggle up and watch a movie. That was every single Friday. And then we played games, before bedtime. Of course, it was all about quantity time, even though you might have seen it as quality time. It was quantity time because the kids are like high needs. Like they need a lot. I had one extrovert and one introvert, so of course they're different. But it was just this time, like reading stories. It was whether we were playing games, we're having family time after dinner was our thing. We'd play some games with the kids before story time or before bath time. And it was all quantity. Yes, it was absolutely quality. I have it on video. It warms my heart. I want to go back and watch it. Gosh, those were good times. And it was quality and quantity together. Now you have a teenager who is attempting to, and fundamentally needs to in their brain, needs to go through this process of individuation and differentiation. And you are likely resisting it because it can kind of hurt as a parent when they don't want to be around you anymore. They barely share anything going on in their life. And most of the time you just get, or you get an eye roll or something. And then you, feeling hurt or rejected or resentful, try to force quality time over, you try to force quantity time like you used to have, not understanding that that is not where their brain is at anymore. And you need to create quality time over quantity time. So what ended up happening for us was, statistically having family dinners, say 3 times a week, is the current stat on maintaining healthy connection in the family unit. And connection, number one, adolescent connectedness is the number one antidote for almost every risk factor across the board, with substance use, alcohol, sexual activity, school attendance, how long they decide to study and stay in school, resilience, all that thing. There's a lot of mental health studies that show connectedness, family connectedness. Now that connectedness also requires 3 things, which all of my programs are based on. Number 1, emotional safety. Number 2, meaningful connection. And number 3, meaningful belonging. So you in order to have connection, you need to have emotional safety, meaningful connection, and true belonging, and understand what those means. That's all the programs that I run are based in those 3 things. You can hit the link in my bio to check some of those out. So 3 times a week, roughly, is what is currently studied. Now, I know my kids were in activities, and so we would maybe have 2 dinner nights a week, 2, maybe 3 in really busy times, like where one's going this way and one's going this way, and but you know what? We made time for that. And again, in our family, quality time means no phones. It's like sitting at the table and we're sharing, and then it's usually like 45 minutes. We end up talking and we're sharing funny stories and whatever. And our game nights that we used to have, every couple weeks we'd be doing game nights. Well, those almost went to once a month, because weekends now were like tournaments and kids were away and they were doing this, or there was, sleepovers. And so it went down, and then quality time turned into game nights becoming an hour as they got to like 18, 19, 20, because 1 hour was what they had between the finishing dinner and plans with their friends. And that was okay. And we made that okay because we didn't want to shame or blame them. And we wanted them to have a strong support network, strong and rich relationship with friends, which thankfully they had great friends. So this is how the transition, I hope I'm making clear, between child relationship, where you get quantity and quality, and the teen and adolescent years, where you've got to let go of quantity. Quantity doesn't mean that you're a better parent. Quantity doesn't mean you're a better family. You've got to look at this at quality time that respects their development of their brain and need to spend more time away from you. What your teen is doing is not a vote against you, as much as it's also a vote for them. Not wanting to spend all the quantity time with you is about them doing what their brain is requiring. Now, here is the key I want you to understand, because I'm hearing this from teenagers today. I'm dealing with this with families in my programs, and I'm like, whoa, this has got to stop. Whoa, Nelly. Okay. In families where you force time, you force the quantity family time, it's forced. Am I like, you're like, no, I sacrifice all these things for you. We pay for your food and your activities. The least you can do is spend this time with us, which by the way is a guilt trip. That's a one-way trip to disconnection that nobody needs, okay? We don't need to guilt and shame our kids into spending time with us. We need to learn how to connect. That's what my programs offer, okay? When you force the time together, your teenager begins to resent you more. You lower disconnection, you lower respect, and you lower trust because you are not listening to their needs. You are putting your insecurity and beliefs around quantity time above your teenager's emotional truth, needs, and your relationship with your teen. I'm not saying you are not in a position of authority as a parent. You are in a position of authority as a parent. That doesn't mean that your emotional needs are more important than your teenager's emotional needs. But this is what you teach them. Now follow me on this one. When you force family time, you are saying to your teen, your emotional needs are less important than my emotional needs or my belief about what a good parent and a good family is. So I am asking you to deny or suppress your truth about our relationship, your beliefs about family in order to please me. Did you hear that? Type it in the comments if what you just heard. Forcing family time is telling your teenager to deny, abandon, or suppress their emotions, feelings, and beliefs about what they need, what is true and right for them, and how they feel in your relationship to please you and earn your approval. I really hope you heard that. Because here is how this now plays out. I'm going to try not to cry. Here is how this now plays out. These same teenagers are now in relationships, unhealthy relationships, where the person they are in relationship, usually at 11 o'clock at night-ish, says, I need to talk to you. Where are you? If you were a good friend, you would be here for me. Guess what your teenager's been taught to do? Deny, suppress, or abandon what is true for them to please and need the approval of another. And so now they stay in that relationship. They do not set effective, healthy limits because they've been taught not to. And these teenagers are now in unhealthy relationships, constantly believing they cannot say no, and they must placate and cater to another person's insecurities. You can call it a toxic relationship, call it whatever you want. An unhealthy relationship, because now your teenager has learned that they must put someone else's needs and feelings above theirs, even if they feel resentful and angry and they know it's not right. That is inherently what they have been taught, was to deny and suppress and abandon what feels true and right for them. And I am seeing this on the daily. So if you think this is an exception to the rule, I also can tell you that from my personal experience. There was no voice of mine in my family. There was no room for my voice. I did what I was told or in fear of great punishment, shaming, guilting, and discipline. Shocker. I got into relationships where I had no idea that I was even allowed to say no. No friggin' idea. So someone else's agenda for their life became my priority because that is what I learned. Someone else's agenda for my body became what I tolerated because I didn't know I was ever allowed to say no. When you force family time, you are teaching your child and your teenager never to learn, understand, or set emotional boundaries. Your teenager is not responsible for your feelings, your pain, your rejection, your hurt. You are responsible for those. They are yours. Requiring your teenager to behave in a way that has you feel comfortable is lacking an emotional boundary, and it builds what is called codependence. Teaching your teenager that they need to deny what is true for them to please you, to force family time, means the time that you are spending together is fake because they don't want to be there. And they now believe that their relationship with you is about you, not about what is true for them, and that's not a relationship. And it is likely they will go out and repeat this pattern and choose people who are emotionally needy, that they are constantly guilt, shamed, and bullied into not setting healthy limits with, and they will learn that they never are allowed to say no, because that's what they're learning at home. Emotional boundaries are one of the number one things that I work on with parents in all of my programs, because we as children were never taught that from our parents. We were raised where we were responsible for our parents' feelings. Oh, don't you do that. That'll make your dad mad. Don't make your dad angry. Well, you probably made your mother angry. That's why she did that. Does that sound familiar to you? Because you were responsible for their feelings. And so now, as a parent, you are repeating the cycle, not because you're not intelligent. It's because that's what your brain is wired to do, is repeat the cycle. To teach your teenager that even though their brain is requiring them psychologically and physiologically to create who they are and spend less time with you in the process, that hurts your feelings and it's not okay with you. So now that's on them. So you guilt and shame and blame them for not wanting to spend time with you. I'm going to tell you the solution right now. Take my program. The Empowered Parent Mastermind self-paced program is available through the summer right now for 20% early bird savings, but only until Monday. If you tap the link in my bio here on Instagram, or if you go to my website under programs, you'll see the Empowered Parent Mastermind self-paced program. I am covering how to truly create connection with your teen. Quality time that means something, quality time that is respectful of your teenager's necessary psychological and physiological brain development, quality time that meets you where you want and is something that they want to do too, even though it's less quantity than what you might think. Does this knowledge only apply to teenagers? It does specifically apply to teenagers because the teen brain is fundamentally different than a child's brain. But I do have many parents who have tweens who take my programs because they want to be proactive. So absolutely, yes. Yes. So in my program, you will learn how to effectively connect through creating emotional safety, meaningful connection, and true belonging with your teenager. All skills that we were not taught in school and our parents were never taught. So this isn't about throwing blame on our parents either. This is about, there is new and science-backed information about psychology and relationship studies that we can apply to parenting on the daily to have the relationship with your teen, where this is what parents who've taken my programs tell me. My teenager, I just got this comment yesterday. My teenager came home from school the other day, came up to me and hugged me and said, "Love you, Mama." She said he hasn't done that voluntarily in months. Teenagers who are with their parents who never share anything or lie all the time and are now all of a sudden, this is how it always get this comment. It just happened. All of a sudden they open up and start talking. Would you like your teenagers to start sharing things with you? What's going on in their life instead of it being such a secret or having to constantly interrogate with questions to get even the smallest bit of detail? Would you like your teenager to actually want and enjoy quality time with you? Not quantity, quality. And be agreeable in doing so. Would you want your teen to listen to what you've asked them to do the first time without the constant reminding, nagging, and Groundhog Day of consequences that aren't working until you're just in a giant power struggle? This is what you will learn in the Empowered Parent Mastermind self-paced program. It is 8 pre-recorded modules with transcripts, audio, a downloadable worksheet, and resources covering the 8 key topics in relationship gap between parents and teens, based on my experience, all of my healing and therapy, and all of my training, as well as raising 2 kids. And it's only on early bird savings, 20% off until Monday at noon Pacific. Please hear this. Forcing time with your teen teaches your teen that they can never set an emotional boundary. And then they will go and they will repeat that with relationships, friends, romantic partners. And you will, this was yelled at me. Well, you need to learn to command some respect. And I used to think, and where would I have learned that from? I know this might sound really harsh, but what your teenager learns about relationships from you is what they deem as normal. Even if it doesn't feel right, and they will repeat it. And I don't think we need to do that. Emotional boundaries, knowing where you end and your teen begins, is the only way to have a healthy relationship. We were not raised that way. We were raised where it was just all a big muddy water. And most of it was all your fault, and you did something wrong, and now you had to do something to make everyone else feel better. That's bullshit. That's toxic, and it's codependent. You are not responsible for your teen's feelings. Your teenager is not responsible for your feelings. And this all starts, I'm seeing this play out continually in families, in forcing family time, so please stop it. Create agreements about quality time. 1 a week, maybe. And this goes for telling older kids they have to spend time with their younger siblings. Please stop. Younger siblings may not have the same brain development. Younger siblings always look up to older siblings. They want to spend every minute with them. I know. I had to constantly tell my younger son that his brother needed a lot more alone time at that stage of his life. I also had to explain to my oldest that his brother did not know life without him in it. He only knew life with an older brother. My oldest knew life without him. And so they had a different take in the world. And it didn't make it easy, but it helped us appreciate and navigate that hard time. So forcing your teenager to spend time with their sibling, also not healthy. Please don't do it. When you understand your teen's brain and you understand the fundamental relationship skills required to truly create meaningful connection, emotional safety, and true belonging, you will find more joy, fulfillment, and heartwarming moments with your teen than what you're having now trying to force quantity time. You will have more heartwarming, joyful, smile, tears of joy kind of moments with your teen in the quality limited time because you understand how to do that. So please focus on the quality time, make agreements about what that looks like, maybe 1 night a week, maybe your family activities go to once every 2 weeks. And this also goes for family vacation. Please stop expecting your teen to want to go on vacation with you because, by the way, they were never asked. It's just assumed they're going to come with you. They don't necessarily want to do what you want to do anymore. So if you're going to take them on vacation with you, ease up a little on your expectations of them loving the whole thing like you will, because they don't and they won't. Don't guilt or shame them around it. It won't work. I have a blog that I just posted, 6 tips to surviving summer vacation with your teen. I strongly recommend you have a read of that if that feels like something that's a struggle for you coming up this summer. I hope this was helpful. Please leave your comments and insights. Share this with any other parents and parents of teens who are struggling with the quality time over quantity time and have missed that transition from child to teen, where quality time looks a lot different, but it is still entirely 100% possible. Thank you so much for being here, everyone. I will see you next Thursday at 11 a.m. Pacific here on Instagram and over there on YouTube at Allie Payne. Hit the follow button on Instagram. Give me a subscribe on YouTube. And if you have any questions ever, connect with me at Allie Payne on Instagram, or in my profile, you can send me an email. Thanks, everybody. Have a great weekend. Bye-bye.